So today I want to talk about the serendipitous moments of life. And I've certainly had a few, and I bet you have too. But I want to talk about one in particular. And it happened about 30 years ago. So serendipitous moments are when unexpected things come together and just make for happy moments. So that's what I want to share today, is one of my serendipitous moments. And I can tell you before I start that I still can't believe it happened. Welcome to Approaching the 7th Floor, where the elevator's moving up and the view keeps getting better, and I've finally figured out a few things worth sharing. I'm Ellen, and I'm happily on my way toward my 70s. No rush, no panic, just a whole lot of life stacked behind me, and some pretty good stories, laughs, lessons, and surprises still ahead. I've realized that the best part of getting older is that there's so much good stuff to discover. Hit that subscribe button and let's ride these next floors of life together, and I can't wait to see you in the comments. So it was about 30 years ago, and at that time, my dad and one of my brothers were in the law, in the legal field. And back then, they decided that they would go to Cambridge University and take a 6 weeks courses in law. And also at that time, they thought it would be a good idea if my mother went and stayed in a flat in London. And when they were done, they would come to London on the weekends. And it was a great plan. The only thing is that a couple weeks in, my mother got lonely. And during the week, she was by herself. And she's not so adventurous in a new country. So she contacted me and invited me to come over to London to be with her during the week. And of course, the weekend for a couple weeks. So of course I was excited about that. I'd never been abroad, and because of that, I didn't have a passport. So Ed helped me get a passport at that time. We found out where you can get your birth certificate at some warehouse in Pennsylvania. They hold your birth certificate, so we got that. And then we went to DC, contacted our local representative, and went there, got there early. And before the office opened, we sat out in the hallway waiting for them to show up. And when they finally did, all the paperwork was in order and I got my passport. So that was fun and worked out smooth. So then I booked the plane ride over to London. And when I got on the plane, I got to sit next to a British gentleman. And in that 7-hour flight, he gave me a lot of good advice. I told him what I was doing for those couple weeks. And one piece of advice that seems so trivial, but it was so important, was that he said, when you get off the plane, get a $20 bill changed into British currency, and that will pay a taxi to get you to your mother's London flat. That's exactly what I did, and that was easy. But I have to stop because I got off the plane, and one thing, just to have a little quick sidebar that was unexpected, was going through customs was something else. I've been to England a few times since then, and nothing was as hard as this day. When I got up to the desk, the gentleman just interrogated me, and didn't believe my story that I was going to visit my mother just for a couple weeks. And I had to get out the letter that she had written. He had to see that, and just brought me to tears. So that was just a sidebar. But I got through it, and then I went out. I waited in a queue and got a taxi, drove me directly to my mother's apartment. And my mother's flat, let's say it that way. There's concierge outside many of these nice flats, and he expected me, so he showed me exactly where my mother's door to the apartment was. I knocked on the door and there was no answer. I found out later that she had expected me to get there the next day. So I just hung my baggage on the door so she knew when she came back that I was at least there. But I thought I was going to be pretty adventurous, and I'd figure out the tube system, the subway. So I went out on the street and I took the first stairs down to the first subway that I came across, and I just got on. I just decided I was going to learn how to do this. I knew the address, how to get back. So when you get on the tube in London, there's all kinds of maps on the top of the tube that you know what station you are and where you're going and so on, how to get on the next. It's color-coded, it's wonderful. So I just get on this random subway, the tube, and ride it till it stopped and the doors opened and I stepped off. Now this is where it gets a little crazy. I happened to see a group of young people standing there, like they're in their 20s, my age, and I happened to notice one of the girls that were there looked sort of familiar. So I took a double take, and I couldn't believe my eyes. But it was a friend of mine, but she hadn't seen me yet. She was still talking, very animated. And I knew who this was. And it was a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, Wanda Jones. You know, Wanda, a few years earlier, had come to my hometown, and we worked together for 3 years, and we became best friends. She was just wonderful. She became part of my family, and I got to know her family so well. She's originally from Mississippi, very Southern, and she taught us so many fun things. And we had some great moments together, so very, very close. And that's who I was looking at stepping out of the London tube. So she glanced at me, but then she glanced away, kept talking. She hadn't noticed me yet. And I just kept staring at her, knowing this was going to be exciting. It's just amazing to me to this day. Okay, so she must have felt that someone was staring at her. So she did glance over at me, looked at me, and we both just locked eyes and then said, "Oh my goodness." And we hugged, and we just couldn't believe it. We just couldn't believe it. There we were on the platform, just hugging and telling those people that were close to us that we knew each other, and this was a big surprise, and this was our serendipitous moment. So fun. So that week, we hung out as much as we could. I certainly hung out with my mother as well. But she and I were able to go to the Hippodrome in London. A lot of memories in that week of being together and just enjoying the London time. And I had a wonderful time also with my mother. It was a very special time in my life, and memories that I will never forget. Wanda and I keep in contact. We will bring that up every time we talk. It was just that memorable. So I wonder, have you had serendipitous moments in your life that just in thinking about brings great joy, just brings a smile to your face, like that one? And I'd like to hear about them if so. But just think about your serendipitous moment. That's what, it's like a gift that keeps giving in life, because it's 30 years later and I remember that like it was yesterday, and I can still feel the goosebumps starting. It was crazy. I've had other serendipitous moments that are memorable as well, but I just thought I'd share that one. And if you have any, please share yours. It's just fun to hear about them, and that's fun for you to recall them. So until next time, I'll talk to you again.